Okay, so first look of the day, I wanted to revisit the DIMIR flash deck that Aspiring Spike initially posted that we played in the challenge last week, I think. Sounds right. Um, with a couple small little changes that I made right after we played and kind of wanted to see how they did this time around. So the changes pretty small. We swapped out the two main deck spell peers for two force negation. I think that the blue count is fine, but I want a counter spell that scales better into the late game. Like it's a little worse on the card advantage side or card disadvantage side on turn 1 or something like that. Turn 0, turn 1, 2. But being able to get to like turn 4, 5, 6 and actually hard counter something is a big deal where Spell Pierce can't necessarily do that. And then I swapped out a third copy of Cling to Dust and the Logic Knot for two copies of Tameo Inquisitive Student. Just a little extra card advantage. I felt like the third Cling to Dust was a little bit much. Usually, if you see one, that's like all you need. So swapped out the third Cling for a Tameo and the Logic Knot because, again, we have Force Negation, so we actually have like another hard counter going to the mid to late game. In the sideboard, dropped the third Engineered Explosives and the Damnation for two copies of Toxic Deluge. Damnation at 4 mana was just feeling a bit slow. We saw it against like Affinity, where we died before we could actually hit our fourth land drop to cast Damnation. So I want to try a 3 mana counter or 3 mana Wrath effect instead of 4. And then swapped the second and third Graveyard Trespasser for two Kaito. For the most part, they come in against mostly the same matchups outside of like Boros. But I think Kaito's a little bit stickier, a little bit harder to deal with, and has a better chance of snowballing the game compared to Graveyard Trespasser. That's good, but can just die to like the front half of a Flage. So that's where we are going to start off today. See if it's got anything going for it. And then, yeah, figure out what we're doing after that. I saw that ZKG was playing some DIMIR Oculus with Moon Shadow. We might consider doing that after this league. Be free, what's up? Yes, first indeed. Pretty good hand on the play. Keep this. Do you think this list is superior to stock DIMIR mid? They're just doing pretty different things. Like this list being more control heavy versus more mid range heavy. It has indeed been a while. Hope you've been doing well. So like a lot of it is going to come down more to play style than it is to the actual list. The decisions are just a bit different between the two. Ragavan. That's a pretty annoying one. I kind of want a subtlety. Yeah, I think I kind of have to. I don't actually have an answer in hand to that. If I had like a fatal push in hand, I'd let this go, but it does put Ragavan on top. see my island I kept on top. I was really kind of banking on not needing to subtlety something turn one when I kept that island. Control Mage, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. One she, eh? Dragon's Rage Channeler may resolve. I think we're going to go ahead and go for a Cling to Dust here on the Bobble. Kind of play all things Blue Black X in Modern, but I'm not sure if I want to get 3 other Wan Shi Tong to try. Well, that's kind of the joy of being here, right? Is you get to see if you like the play patterns of it before deciding on anything. So opponent's going to be nice and fetch for us. We're going to respond to the fetch so they can't counter spell us. Get a draw off of this Wan Shi Tong. And they're not going to go for a removal spell on their turn. So they could have tried to, if they had like a red removal spell, they could have used it right there and chose not to. Don't think I'm going to swing here. Sage, what's up? Expressive Iteration. Yep. So pretty sure they have a counter spell. But then why would they shock in that Steam Vents last turn? It's like I was tapped out, so. How you liking the set so far? Anything interesting you've come across or cool interactions? I've liked it a lot for standard, but obviously we're not playing standard at the moment, so it's hard to be a good judge. Spell Snare is not bad. Just kind of pass back. Leave ourselves the option to respond to like a bolt with our Field of Ruin. And maybe they have to use a second removal spell on the Wan Shi Tong. But I don't want to go for Field of Ruin and have them respond with a bolt effect. That would be bad. coming at my face with the bolt. Sure. Still could go for the Field of Ruin, but good draw. Don't need another land. Crack in for a couple. I really want to set up like them going for like a Murktide or something, and I get to Subtlety the Murktide plus Spell Snare the counter spell. That's kind of my goal here. And I'd really like to get one more draw out of this Wan Shi Tong. I don't think Subtlety's quite, or don't think Dragon's Rage Channeler's quite worth the subtlety. I was hoping to find a second counter spell, or find a counter spell in general. Card draw spell, something that I could use. We're not in like huge danger here. I guess technically they could have triple lightning bolt. But I think they're just sitting on a removal spell for this Wan Shi Tong. I could go for the Cling to Dust, but again, that opens me up to a removal spell. A little flooded here. Guess we're going to have to make some sort of an action. Let's go after... We have 2 of everything. 2 sorcery, 2 instant, 3 creatures, 2 lands. I don't really want to just draw the card. Or I don't really want to just gain the life. Sorry. Rather draw. I could consult just looking for a fatal push. I could go to blocks. I think my best bet is to go to blocks and then go for Field of Ruin here. So if they have a removal spell, they got to use it now after I've already blocked. Yep. Here's the Murktide. All right, now am I better off going for subtlety here? Get it counterspelled, untap, kick, consult? Or am I better off subtlety off consult, spell snare, counterspell, and then try to top deck sling? I think I'm better off subtlety, let them counterspell, and then untap with kicked consult. All right. So opponent gets Murktide down. Assume they're fetching in response to my fetch in case I have my last card's a Wan Shi Tong. Force of negation. Last card. One of your last two is a counter spell. Oh, so what's my... Can't do anything here. Dead to the Murktide. Like, I found the Fatal Push in the Shieldred's Edict, or the Edict Bowman, or whatever I needed to survive, but unfortunately, they have the counter spell. DIMIR versus Izzet. Tale as old as time. Mystical Dispute, Trespasser, Kaito. Don't care for Force of Negation. Everything else is like kind of pretty good. Could trim a consult in case they're on spell snare. Could trim a Wan Shi Tong because it's not great into the red removal. Tricky one. Don't really want to cut much. On the play. So just board out a subtlety. At the end of the day, they are card disadvantage more often than not. Pretty good hand. Need to be a little bit aware of Blood Moon. So I might try to just go like basic island into basic swamp. Field of Ruin gets second basic island. Got a bolt. Okay. Two to the bottom. So opponent is looking for an answer to this Tameo. Channeler is fine. I think I'm just going to get a Surveil land here. I've got Counterspell if they've got Blood Moon this upcoming turn. If they respond with a kill spell, that's fine. They kind of either do it now or they do it on my upkeep. Maybe I just want to get a basic and crack this clue. Nah. CKG, what's up? Glad to run the deck back. This might be my favorite deck to play in the format right now. It's fairly fun. No real arguments from me. I'll take another land. So, do I think that they've got a spell snare or do I think they have a spell pierce? They shocked in. They probably have a spell snare with the intent of snaring my counter spell. Little bit awkward because I would like to counterspell this so I can fatal push their channeler. But I think I'm just going to have to let the Ragavan hit me, fatal push the channeler, let them pick the Ragavan back up. And aim to counterspell next turn. If I get Spell Pierce, that sucks, but I think Spell Pierce is less likely than a Spell Snare here. Show me the spell snare. Are you going to counter spell back? Like force negation? Okay. That's kind of fine. Subtlety they can't do anything with. I don't have any forces in post board. All my forces are in the board. So not really a big benefit to searching for a force when you don't have one. Eat a Chandler, say go. So we know Ragavan, 3 unknowns. Really trying to save this really trying to save this consult for a moment where I can look for an answer to a Murktide. But we are going to have to find an answer to Ragavan eventually. One card left. Will they hit Wan Shi Tong? Take you, and I'm just going to go ahead and main phase this while they don't have 2 mana available. So unless they have like double removal spell plus dash rag, they have the Murktide. That's gross. They had to have top decked this, right? Getting notifications from Twitch. One card in hand. Let's go kick this. And kill the Ragavan in case I can find a copy of Shieldred's Edict or like Kaito or something. Tamio under the bus. Eldrazi Kaido. Yep. A little bit dead. Little tiny bit dead. GG's. Definitely a matchup that Fatal Push feels pretty bad. I guess Fatal Push feels bad in a lot of matchups, like Jeskai Blink. Against opposing Murktides, especially. Like I think I had the right idea there of trying to save the Consult to have a chance to answer a Murktide because the Ragavan wasn't killing me. Definitely sucked that they had the Murktide the one turn we tapped out. But like ZKG said, the Mystical Dispute wasn't countering the Murktide anyway. So that was probably going to get us regardless. But technically, we would have had. They cast Murktide, we Mystical Dispute. They pay for Dispute. We untap Consult, and we would have found the Shieldred's Edict off of it. So that could have been the better line. I just didn't want to get in a counter war with the Bowmaster over the known Ragavan to try to play around an unknown Murktide, which they would have cast the turn before if they had, because we were tapped out. So pretty confident that was off the top. Basic Island. Starting off a league in 2026 against two preordained decks is a weird feeling. Like, didn't we already decide preordained wasn't good enough? Mill. I don't think this deck can beat Mill in a million years. I don't believe we have got any semblance of a shot against Mill. I mean, there's always like a shot, but we just don't have anything that like applies any sort of quick proactive pressure. And that's like what we need in this matchup. Yep. Okay. Double archive trap, Visions of Beyond. That will do it. Maybe if I go for Wan Shi Tong, they'll have second copy of what's it called? Visions of Beyond. Just draw right now. Let me Bowmaster. Kill spell. Sure. Hit that one. Yep. I should probably consult looking for a land. But do I even have any lands left? There's 2 islands gone, 3 islands. So I have 1 island, 1 swamp. I don't think I can risk it. Got 1 island, 1 swamp, 2 undercity sewers, 1 undercity sewers, 2 watery graves. It's still like another field of ruin. No, I have no more field of ruins. 1, 2, 3. Are they gonna field of ruin me? All right. Don't go for the field of ruin. Crab. Option number 1, subtlety this. Option number 2, subtlety pitch counter spell. Option number 3, let it resolve. Worst case scenario would be I let it resolve and they play a fetch land and just get to have fetch, or play land, trigger, I respond, fetch, I respond, field of ruin, I respond. So maybe that's not the worst. It does lose to like another spell off the top. I think I just have to subtlety. I think I subtlety off of counterspell to keep counterspell available. In case they have a follow-up like Tasha's here. Follow-up second crab. Are they just sandbagging crabs and land? This is the plan that I'm going to go for the Field of Ruin. Go to instep, upkeep, Field of Ruin. Make sure we don't target one of their Field of Ruins. They can't sack and I guess it wouldn't really matter if they sack and response because everybody has to search anyway. Okay. Is there any reason not to fetch? It doesn't really matter. Like, if I get an Undercity and surveil something to the top, they've got Field of Ruin, so it's never staying there. Okay. How badly do I want that spell snare? I guess they have second Field of Ruin, so it doesn't matter. I was gonna say I could cling to dust to try to draw into the spell snare, but because they have the second field, it doesn't really do anything for me. Okay. They have the fetch land. We let this go. I'm going to try to go to my turn. I don't know if this is better or worse for me or it doesn't matter. Should I fetch right here? No. All right. So we go push. They respond with fetch. I respond with foot push. They respond with Field of Ruin. I respond with Shieldred's Edict. So let's fetch first, see if they respond to this. Not. I could also just go to... No, I can't go to combat because they block the 2/2. So push. Why? Oh, because I'm not dead until my next upkeep. Fair. I guess that makes sense too. I assumed they had something in hand. Apparently not. What spell snare hit? Drown in the lock. That's like it. Fetch right now. So if they want to archive trap me into turn, I've got Mystical Dispute up. If they don't, we upkeep push. Good old Hedron Crab coming in multiples of 27. The same thing as last time. Fetch now in case they found an archive trap. Go to their turn, upkeep Fatal Push. If they want to like drown in the lock, I've got Mystical Dispute. Get out of here. I was so ready for fourth crab to hit the battlefield. All right, Trespasser. I need you, buddy. My brother in Christ. Could you not? All right. Crab City indeed. All right, so I could subtlety this off the force. Go to my turn. Have Field of Ruin for their Shelldock Isle. I could let this go, save my counters, and hope that I can outrace. I think I'm going to do that. If they have 4 crabs and they still have a fetch land available. Fair. That's rough. It's like the worst land for me too, because they can Field of Ruin my Field of Ruin, so I can't hit their Shelldock Isle. Are they not going to? So this is if a library has 20 or fewer cards in it. I'm just going to keep hitting their crabs and trying to speed up the clock. I feel like they're supposed to stack that the other way and like mill and then surveil, but I'm not a mill expert, so take that with a grain of salt. Try to speed up the clock a bit. So day and night only flips if the active player cast 2 spells. So even if they like counter back and I force a negation their counter, since they only cast 1 spell, it wouldn't flip back to nighttime or back to daytime. So my clock gets to stay pretty decent. Island's not bad actually. So we will eat my Wan Shi Tong and your crab. Casting Surgical on my Wan Shi Tong. Is there any reason I would want to Field of Ruin in response to this? No. Sure. Eat this, put them down to 14, hit for 7, put them down to 7. Can't imagine they're gonna block there. And say go. should not be going after my Field of Ruin, because I get to respond with my Field of Ruin, and you only get one landfall trigger, which you would have gotten off the Field of Ruin anyway, but I get your Shelldock Isle off the battlefield, and your field fizzles. Needed to target one of my watery graves. Yep. Okay. So we are presenting lethal this turn. So Crab has to block. I could cling to dust looking for a fatal push. I don't think that I want to do that. I think I just want to attack in, eat some stuff. Yeah, I've got like some Bowmasters here. Eat some stuff, force a chump, and have 2 lethal attackers next turn with double counter spells up. That sounds reasonable to me. Go Power Graveyard Glutton. If I had a creature other than Orcish Bowmaster, I'd exile one Bowmaster and the other creature just so Surgical wouldn't matter. But I'd just let Surgical go anyway, since this is lethal. They're forced to chump. They don't fetch. I could just ignore this crab. This crab doesn't matter. Even if their last card's a fetch land, that's only 12 milled out of my 27. They're dead in the air. So realistically, I should have ignored this crab. Just so I could keep up like actual counter spell in case the last card is some random creature I've never heard of before that gets them out of that spot. It's always one of the fun parts about Magic. There is a very, 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 very deep card pool of Magic the Gathering cards. And it is super easy to not know all of them. What am I getting rid of? Am I just getting rid of third land here? No. Just get rid of force. Can I read that card? Most read statement in, or most said statement in Magic? It is. Well, bad choice on my part. Like I always try to push the idea that I don't know every card that exists in every deck list. I don't know every card that's ever been tried in Boros Energy at least once. So there is a very good chance that one of my opponents at some point plays a card that I didn't know was even on the radar. And if I have the option to make plays in a way that stop me from losing to the card that I didn't even know was like in the realm of possibility, then it makes sense to approach the matchup that way or approach the sequencing that way. And it's always pretty funny because I'll get comments that are just like, oh, well, why'd you play around X? Like nobody plays that card. Or why didn't you just go for the kill right there? And it's like your opponent had 2 open mana and 1 card in hand. It's like, because I don't know what they could have. I genuinely don't. So I'm going to choose to play around it. I can't remember, but it kind of feels like we lost to Tron last time we played this deck in the challenge. And this was like one of the matchups where all I could think was, man, I really wish I had Psychic Frog in my deck. And I don't. Have to do this in response. Like Tron's making a pretty significant comeback, so it's a little bit difficult to register a list that doesn't have Psychic Frog in it. It's a lot of Eldrazi mana you got there. Is this a Devourer? Yep. How about a Field of Ruin? Basic Mountain. Is that a normal thing? Basic Mountain. Like, I'm pretty sure this is Eldrazi aggro, right? Not just normal, boring Eldrazi. Got the Kozilek's command. All right. Yep. Pretty good. I'll wait on this just in case we need to cling to dust instead. I don't think cling to dust is really stopping anything. Children's Edict away this Devourer. Follow up. It's pretty good follow up. So I can trade with the Wan Shi Tong. Take 2. I feel like that's not winning me the game. All right, so I'm at a virtual 7 with Cling to Dust. You just have another Kozilek's command. So pretty good. Yep, not getting out of that. So consigns in. Probably bring in like a Deluge. Kaito in. Spell Snare out, because I don't think these versions are running like any number of talismans. Trim some consults. Trim like a couple fatal push. Would love to play first. Turn 2 Bowmaster into turn 3 Kaito on the play with no other disruption. Do I think that's good enough? I do get to subtlety something if they have like a turn 2. Sure. Like I would just be mulling for consigned memory, but I don't have like Frog or Harbinger of the Seas or even Thought Seas to mulligan 2. This deck needs Thought Seas. Post board for sure. Ditch a Vexing Bauble. want that force, but I also want land. Cavern of Souls. So now we've got a choice ahead of us. Do we want to... Do we want a Bowmaster into Kaito? Do I want a Wan Shi Tong into Field of Ruin? Wan Shi into Field of Ruin looks pretty good into this Ugin's Lab. But at the same time, if they're going to give me the free Kaito here... I guess I could always just Field of Ruin, no Kaito. I do want to get this Glaring Flesh Raker off the battlefield. Let's just do this now. Doing it now so that they can't Kozilek's command in response. They do have multiple basics, which I didn't really expect to see. Okay. Could Kaito stun that down, but that doesn't really do a whole lot for me. So I'm going to plan on Wan Shi. Pass. Thought Not Seer. Don't like that one quite as much as Thought Not. So we'll get a card off Wan Shi. Does not much for us. So we're just going to go ahead and Field of Ruin this Cavern. Maybe draw into a Consign. Oh, we don't have a good attack. Just gotta pass back. One mana away from, or no, they can just cast a Devourer now. Okay. I guess technically I can stun that down with Kaito. Cost a lot of life to do it, but need to get this Chrysalis off the board. Line breaker. Okay, so their last card in hand is a Devourer of Destiny. So we're just going to subtlety this. Kept the line breaker on top. This doesn't have trample, right? All the stupid Eldrazi, I feel like you have to look through miles and miles of text to see that they have like trample or reach or some random other keyword. Cling. Cling gets to see a couple new cards. I'll keep that one. We've got Sire stunned for one more turn. Okay. So we get to shuffle away. Shuffle away the line breaker. Get another draw off Wan Shi Tong. It is not bad. Okay, what am I looking for here? I could consult looking for a fatal push to kill the Chrysalis. I could cling first. I kind of like cling first. See if I can or save the consult. Tameo. Guess Tameo is just a chump blocker here. can consult in response to something to try to find a consign. Wastscape Battle Mage. How bad is this for me if I don't consult? They bounce the Wan Shi Tong. They attack both. Tamiyo can block the Chrysalis. Save Kaito. Unless they attack both at Kaito. I could flash Wan Shi Tong back in, trade with the Herald. I think I'm going to... Escape resolves. So they're going to attack both at me. Nope. Both at Kaito. Tamiyo on the It That Heralds the End. Before damage, Fatal Push the Chrysalis because Wan Shi Tong left the battlefield. Go to my turn. First Strike, Menace, Trample, Lifelink, everything else. What kind of line do I have that has me survive here? I've got Cling to Dust in the yard. I can gain up to 11. So I can Kaito stun the Sire again, go down to 7. That would take me to 4 life. I would have a Wan Shi Tong I could flash in. I guess I might as well start with attacking. I do have another island for this, right? Yeah. All right. Let's get island. Cling, target, Chrysalis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gain 3. Kaito stun the Sire. Yes. Stun counters and go. I really need to make this like a big Wan Shi Tong next turn. I don't think a little Wan Chi Tong is. I really need this to like kill them. Did you find another spell? All right, Chalice is fine. Chalice is less fine. Do I want to just main phase this Wan Chi Tong, like attack with Tameo, main phase the Wan Chi, draw 3, flip Tameo. Wan Chi would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. No, yeah, Wan Chi Tong would be a 7, 7. So I can attack with Bowmaster and try to get lethal next turn. Yeah, I'm just going to hope they hit nothing. I'm just going to say if you hit something, I lose. If you hit nothing, I win. Tameo can't fetch because I got to block. Or no, I can fetch. I can fetch, I just can't shock or anything. And hopefully subtlety would stop like a line breaker. I need you to not draw a Kozilek's command. Subtlety will stop a line breaker. I just need you to not draw a Kozilek's command. Okay. Game 3 on the draw. I'll bring my fatal pushes back in. Over what? Tameo. Yeah. Tameo for Kaito. That looks not good enough. This looks equally horrendous. So what is this? On the draw 6, turn 1 tap land. Subtlety something, turn 2 second tap land. Yeah, this isn't getting there. I'll keep this hand because it's got a consign to memory. Chalice, Unclaimed Territory, Thought Not Seer. Sure. Okay. No big scary play. We find land. It's not a big scary play. Show me land. Land. Thank you. Color the spells you cast with mana value 7 or greater cost 1 less. So if opponent has got another soul land, they can cast a 7 drop next turn. I don't know what the odds of that are. So I might just go upkeep, push. 3 cards. They would need a soul land and a 7 drop. I don't think they have a Kozilek's command. That resolved like pretty fast. Am I going after Cavern or am I going after a Soul Land? Because they haven't had a play yet. So maybe I want to go after Cavern. Or maybe I want to go after a Soul Land, sorry, and just assume they don't have anything. I also would like to draw off this Wan Chi Tong. Line Breaker is fine. Annoying, but fine. Fear my 2/2. Okay. Probably going to have to take another hit off of this Line Breaker. Two, three, four, five, six. That's a lot of mana. Just another Wastegate. I think I'm going to respond to this with an Edict. bounce my Wan Shi Tong. Okay. I like that draw quite a bit. So we'll go after this Ugin's Lab. I want to go after this one because I'm less afraid of them having the Sire in hand than the Devourer. Because the Devourer's got the cast trigger, the Sire's got the gets countered trigger. See what I did there? They have no more basics, so this Field of Ruin is effectively a strip mine, which is cool. Another Wastegate. Go ahead and Fatal Push you. Good draw. Do not believe I'm going to be Kaitoing, but depending on what they do, I might go for Subtlety into turn just to try to make this a one-turn clock. Especially now that they've given up the Vexing Bauble, I could have Subtlety. Yeah. I was going to say I could have Subtlety plus Force Negation back up. Nice. All right, that was pretty dope. I think out of the, 10 or so matches that I've played with this deck, that was probably the best that I've seen Wan Shi Tong. Sure. Roll with this in the blind. We in a mirror match. That'd be hot. I like that card in the mirror. Not a mirror. Oreos. Goryo's or Esper Blink, depending on whether they cast a draw 2 or a Felia. Felia it is. You have an Overlord to pair with the pup. You do not. Okay. First big decision point of the day. I could go like push plus Bowmaster plus force. I could just hard cast the force. I could consult looking for a fourth land. Fatal push force. It's probably just hard cast force, right? Just convert on the 1-for-1. Don't overthink it. I do think I want a fourth land though. Fourth land, kind of important. Quantum Riddler. In a perfect world, this would be respond to Riddler with Bowmaster, shoot Felia. If they want to blink Bowmaster, blink Riddler, shoot Felia again. But obviously, we are not in a perfect world, and Solitude is a card that I have to consider. And I don't want to go for Bowmaster and have them Solitude and get to draw 2 plus keep the Quantum Riddler around. Yep. I am shocked. Shocked and appalled. So many Orcish Bowmasters. They don't go for the rebound. Interesting. Thoughtseize may resolve. All right, it's not terrible. They don't have subtlety mana up, so I don't even know if they run subtlety. I believe it's worth going for this. Okay. Push, sure. They know that I have double Bowmaster. So I kind of feel like this is just Felia plus another Ephemerate. Emperor of Bones. Okay. Targeting my Orcish Bowmaster. Do have the Ephemerate. Kind of suspected. Yep. Let's see what we got. Got no blue mana. That's kind of cool. Guess they can always reset my Wan Chi with Felia. Unfortunately, there wasn't a spot where I could like double Bowmasters the Emperor of Bones in response to anything. Yes. So technically, I should have waited for the Bowmaster trigger to go, or the Emperor Bones trigger to resolve, and the Quantum Riddler to go on the stack I don't think, yeah, I don't think it ends up mattering like at all. Decklist. The list is over on Moxfield. The link doesn't work on YouTube, but I'll see if I can drop it over there. Maybe that'll work. Can't imagine anything that gets me out of this. Maybe if they start with like hard cast Overlord, I could find an out. But if they just have like a Solitude. What if we just block with the Tameo? Go to 1, keep up Subtlety. Maybe be an out here. Like they don't currently have Revolt, but I guess they can kill the Wan Chi Tong. They could have Solitude. All right. We need 4th copy of Bowmasters off the top. That simple. Consult the star charts. Oh, never mind. Fair. So Trespassers, Kaitos. Couple Consign, bring in a Deluge. Force can get out of here. Get rid of a Cling. Maybe I don't bring in the Deluge. Got a lot of good cards for the matchup. I have to cut something. We Frog haters now? No, we're just playing a list that did well without Frog once. 5 lands into 1 land. We played Moon Shadow. I played Moon Shadow on Tuesday. I'm sure I'll play it again at some point, but gonna kind of wait for someone else to put a list together that does well. I just like threw together some cards I felt like casting with Moon Shadow with very little to no thought, like whatsoever, with the list. So if you're expecting good results out of that particular list, you're going to be very disappointed. Like, I don't really want to say it was good or bad when it was just a janky pile of cards. I don't think the extra power on Wan Shi Tong is worth not getting my Surveil here. So I don't think they're on Bowmaster. Prepared to be wrong. That does stop an Emperor of Bones, but only once. So if they have like a Felia or a an Ephemerate, they can reset it, but it's probably better than nothing. Could have a fatal push. Let's go ahead and go for our redraw. So adapt trigger goes on the stack. Let them not put in Overlord of the Bale Merc. Never mind. Quantum Riddler. We've got a little bit of Flood. Unfortunate. We had some chances to win this one. We had some pretty good cards in the matchup. Just didn't line up well. push. Sure. Interesting. So we go down to 5 on this attack. They cast a Quantum Riddler. Get to push the Emperor. Get down Graveyard Trespasser. Eat something. Warp. Not really a big fan of warping there. I feel like I see Goryo's players and stuff do that all the time. I kind of feel like I'd rather just see them hard cast the Quantum Riddler. Kind of feels like warping is just extending the game kind of unnecessarily. Another Thoughtseize. Yep. A lot of damage here. Like, this is kind of putting them in a spot where, what if I just top deck a removal spell for the Quantum Riddler? You could just be dead here instead of like killing me. If you got another Ephemerate, you got another Ephemerate. Like, could have had a Quantum Riddler out on the board last game or last turn with 4 more life because he didn't double Thoughtseize. And maybe I'm wrong. It just feels like trying to be too fancy. Now, if their last card in hand was an Ephemerate already, then I could get behind it. But like, as soon as you aren't keeping that Quantum Riddler on board, I feel like it's better to just play it out. Yep. going to make the assumption that them taking Tamiyo means they have an answer for second Tamiyo. And that's what they intend to do right here. Upkeep push, sure. Then fetch to play around Wan Shi Tong. Get the clock on board instead of the counter spell. Them going for Quantum Riddler here into the known counter spell. My first thought would be that they have a Teferi and they're trying to get me to burn the counter spell on this Quantum Riddler. Which is feeling more and more like it's the case. Counterspell and Overlord. Since they can't follow this up with the Teferi. No land, you say? Okay. This Emperor? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like them having a land here isn't even that bad for me. They would also need to fetch and shock off of this. So maybe I consult if they do that and just look for a removal spell. Okay. What are my best lines to respond to this? I can consult looking for a removal spell. And if I miss, I still have Wan Shi Tong. This also is needing to find Solitude. I think I just consult for a removal spell. It's not a removal spell. So no response here. Okay, Subtlety is pretty good. Pass it back. Second Emperor of Bones. Okay. Well, definitely getting a little bit more awkward. I feel like you get my subtlety. I guess you could get your own Flicker Wisp if you just want to like reset an Emperor, but yeah, I feel like my subtlety is the better one. All right, so they can Emperor their own Flicker Wisp now and reset something. Solitude in response to this. Fair. Third Bowman. Does that do anything for me? Obviously, really good card, but does it actually do anything for me? If I go Kaito, Stun the Solitude. And they play Emperor, exile their own Flicker Wisp, level up the Emperor. Flicker Wisp comes in, exiles Solitude. Flicker Wisp attacks at Kaito. I Bowmaster the Flicker Wisp. Solitude comes back in. Exiles like one of my Bowmasters. I'm not attacking for lethal. Attack with the Orc. Why am I attacking with the Orc? Well, I don't care about them tapping or killing off the 4/4 Emperor. Killing this does nothing for me. This card is just like a free block that doesn't impact the game. I'm not killing the 2/2 that doesn't have the counters on it yet, so it can get something back. And if they just block with the Solitude, well, then they're out of lethal range. Like, I understand the argument of going at, like, also, if I attack in and they block with the Solitude, they can Emperor back the Solitude to exile something. What if I Kaito stun the 4/4? And then I can attack in with the Orc army. They either have to give up the Emperor that's got 2 or the Solitude. Does attacking with both do anything? Yeah. They should just go Solitude on the Orc. But if they do that, then I Bowmaster my own Solitude and they die. They could go Solitude on the Orc army token. And then I just let it go. Yeah. The only part I don't like about this is attacking with the Orc is just like 100% saying I have another Bowmaster in hand. Like, that's kind of all it's doing, is saying I've got this card 100%. Now Emperor can get back Subtlety. and kill the Kaito if they want. Sure, but what other options do you have? Well, the other option is not doing anything that forces an action. And saying, like, you've got to do something about what I've got going on. And I want a Bowmaster here. So if I find a Kaito, it's lethal. And I do want to put them down to 1. Be 1 with an active Bowmaster out, so they can't draw an extra card. Have a lethal attack next turn. All right. I think I flash in another subtlety here. Their outs are another Solitude that I've got covered by backup subtlety, Ophelia that I've got covered by Spell Snare, or Removal Spell that gets covered by second subtle or by subtlety. And if they have like 2 things like Removal Spell plus Felia, it's a lot worse. But if it's just 1 thing, I've got that covered. Okay. So going back to that line with the double Emperor Solitude, if I play Kaito and stun the Solitude, I can attack in with the Orc Army token if I want to trade off with the 4/4. But again, I think the 4/4 just doesn't matter because I would have to use my Bowmaster. They would get to block the Emperor, go to their turn, Emperor back the Flicker Wisp in their yard, cast or play the Flicker Wisp, blink their own Emperor, kill off Kaito. I wouldn't have an answer to the Flicker Wisp because I used up my Bowmaster. And their reset Emperor could get them something else if they wanted that line. Or they could just put in the subtlety and kill the Kaito. Don't think there's a reason not to Flicker Wisp instead. If I stun down the 2/2, that doesn't matter. So I would still have to use up the Bowmaster if they block with the 4/4, and killing the 4/4 doesn't matter. if I wonder if there's any argument to just Kaito tick up. Kaito tick up is safe from attacks with what I know about. Is there value in stunning the Solitude so that they can't put in their yard to get back with Emperor? My thought was if they get back Solitude, I don't care. Because I can protect Kaito with my backup Bowmaster if they get back Solitude. But if they get back Subtlety or Flicker Wisp, they get to kill my Kaito plus kill my Orc Army token and can just start beating me down with Emperor of Bones. So I kind of feel like Solitude was the worst thing to get back with Emperor. I should have thought more about the attack with both, with the Bowmaster and the token, because I think that just like signaled I've got another Bowmaster. I think that was like the only thing you can take away from that attack is either I have a Bowmaster or I have a Fatal Push. And it would make no sense for me to have a Fatal Push there because I would have used it. Am I missing something? If you stun Solitude and attack with both, they have to block both, and you kill the 2/2 Emperor. Now you have Kaito and one Bowmaster. They don't have to block with both, though. They gain 3 off the Solitude, and the other attack doesn't kill them. So they just don't have to do anything with the 2/2 Emperor. If they had blocked, they were at 2 life, right? If they block the Bowmaster itself, I can cast my new Bowmaster, shoot the Bowmaster, and kill them with the Orc Army. But as soon as they block the Orc Army, if I shoot them, all of the life changes happen at the exact same time. So they lose 1 off of the Bowmaster, or lose, 1 at the exact same time that they gain 3 off of the Solitude. So it just nets to +2 and they survive. If I tap down Solitude with Kaito and attack for both, it's an attack for 3. Yes. If I attack with both, it is an attack for 3. Correct. But if we tap Solitude, they have a. All right, they block a 2/2. You can ping them down. So they would have a 4/4 and a 2/2. We'd be attacking them with a 2/2 army token and a 1/1. They were at 3 life. They blocked the 2/2 with the 4/4, the 1/1 with the 2/2. If we Bowmaster ping down the 2/2, Bowmaster ping down the 2/2, they kill the 4/4. I've got 2 1/1 Bowmasters. They go to their turn. Solitude, 1 stun counter. Attack at the Kaito. That might have worked. Yeah, we have a 1/1 Bowmaster. They have an Emperor. They attack Kaito with the Emperor. Bowmaster gets thrown under the bus. Well, at that point, if we have to block the Emperor, they have a Quantum Riddler in exile. So they can just play the Quantum Riddler and we're like buried if they resolve the Quantum Riddler, right? Like the Kaito's not lethal because they play the Quantum Riddler. Oh wait, we had Subtlety. So I guess if they attack Kaito, we block with Bowmaster, they cast Subtlety, we have lethal. If they do anything else, we're in trouble. Like we're dead to a Fatal Push, an Ephemerate, Solitude white card. But we can beat a creature. We're dead to those cards anyway. Well, if we attack and we don't kill them, we're dead to those things. If we don't attack, we're fine. Because we have Bowmaster plus token, Subtlety blue card in hand, plus the other Bowmaster. So they can't kill enough stuff to get through attacks and kill us with another Bowmaster in hand if we don't do anything. But as soon as we make the attack, then yeah, we're dead to the removal stuff. Sinner, what's up? If you're trying anything with Moon Shatter, I played like a for fun list on Tuesday, but I have not tried anything like seriously trying to break Moon Shadow. See, they can take the Flicker Wisp with the 2/2. Is it another Eldrazi? Yeah. Attack down Kaito with it. So if the Bowmaster that, they can flicker Solitude to gain 4 life. Yeah, but we would still have a Kaito in that spot. So it's like a little bit better. Definitely not great. Yeah, that's a really weird, really weird spot where every line just loses to something and you're trying to play like the small percentage game. There's not really a right answer. Actually, let's Wan Shi Tong. Bowmaster the 2/2 after they block the 1/1 in the tap Solitude line. Yeah, we Bowmaster the 2/2, but then like if they're attacking back with their Emperor into Kaito, we either have to give up the Kaito or give up the Bowmaster. If we give up the Bowmaster, they have Riddler. If we don't give up the Bowmaster, we lose Kaito, which is just like one of our best things there. And we're still playing a big game of what if. Block with Bowmaster and Subtlety Riddler. That's if they go for Riddler. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's always the chance that they just don't go for Riddler. In which case, maybe our line lines up. Maybe it doesn't. What's the logic with main phasing both of these removals? The Fatal Push, I didn't want them to have mana. The Shieldred's Edict, because I was paying more attention to chat than the game. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. All right, we're gonna go to game 2 after multiple Chrysalis. Yeah, in a perfect world where I wasn't streaming, I would probably take that line too. But in an imperfect world where I want to spend more time thinking about that last line, this is what you get. In an imperfect world where I'm forced to play against Eldrazi multiple times. I think I keep 1 or 2 pushes for the Writhing. What do you think? Well, that's what the Shieldred's Edicts are for. I'm keeping in a couple Edicts. I don't really want to have like 5 removal spells in. But Cling, because we saw Emrakul the Promised End in their graveyard at the end of that game 1. So I want to be able to hit some card types. Is this one on Sire? No idea. Could not tell you. Possibly. I very well could have just ignored that Trinisphere, for being honest. Like, I've got the mana to play around it, so... Got involved in that discussion and burnt my pizza. Love it. Hmm. Take you off double colorless here. Yeah. A little surprised they'd get a fetch land here. Instead of a double colorless land. We got something to do. Fear the Kaito. Just like an unholy heat. YOLO. How's Consult been feeling? It's kind of mid. It's really, really pricey as a spell, which I'm not a huge fan of. Everything about this sucks. I kind of want to kick Consult to try to find Blue Source Consign. Now that they have double colorless up, like casting Kaito, stunning down Chrysalis or something just doesn't matter if they get to follow up with the Devourer. Did they really grab a fetch to leave heat up? Seems like it. Yeah, now hopefully I don't have to tap off of Consign. So if they've got like a Kozilek's command, I can just counter that straight up, take them off their double colorless. Or if they want to like devour or exile a Bowmaster, I can counter the Devourer. They can take my Bowmaster, sure. We've got ninjutsuing to do. You ever ninjutsued before? I have. Sure. No. Okay. So Chrysalis is coming off in 2 turns. I'm going to see if we can find a counter spell here. Nope. Nope. Man. How does he do it? Good at calling your draws. Well, it's more recognizing that you just have a very small thing that you need to hit to have a chance here. Saying that thing, and either it manifests and you look like a genius, or it doesn't, and it looks like 98% of the games of Magic you play in your career. I just realized this week that I've been playing Kaito as Surveil 1 in paper for 2 months. Don't do that. Surveil 2. You were 50% underestimating this card. My short-term goal in Modern, I want to build the best Kaito deck in Modern. Period. Like, I know it's probably going to be a blue black X shell, obviously. Kaito, blue black X Planeswalker. But I still think somehow that card is really getting like underappreciated and underutilized. And I'm going to go on like a full scale reckoning of not trying to make the best like blue black X frog deck with Kaito, but just like the best Kaito 75 period. If it's got frog, cool. If it doesn't have frog, cool. I agree. Kaito slipped on, and it's because Spike says it's trash and all the people bandwagon him. Spike is entitled to Spike's opinions. Like, I think Kaito is really, 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 really good when you can set up your deck to make Kaito really, 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 really good. I also think there are times that Kaito is not so good because people don't set up their deck to make Kaito good. And I want to do the part that makes Kaito good. If given the opportunity. My LGS is infested with Jeskai Blink. Well, you want me to tell you a card that's good against Jeskai Blink? Spoiler alert, it's Kaito. You did the third Surveil also over the demo field. You and I land on almost the exact same changes to Spike's challenge list. Did Spike have demo field in the list? I thought he just had 3 Surveils. He had 5th demo field over 3rd Surveil. I think that's too much, personally. I think I'm going to do the ninjutsu thing here. Because I really want to find another land more than I want to Field of Ruin. No. Bad Eldrazi player. Bad. Oh, gods of magic, give me an untapped blue source in the top 3 cards of my library. I see you mock me. There's still one more, though. Damn it. Well, if they have second Kozilek's command, life is rough. Life is slightly less rough. I don't want to subtlety that. I don't care about that. I've got a Shieldred's Edict. So this would get up to a 4/5. But like, I'm not tempoing them out because this part, this box of text right here, this thing, this physical thing doesn't matter. It's already gotten the part that matters. So subtletying is just like using up 2 cards to not do anything that impacts really what's going on. And I don't think that's where I want to use subtlety. I could just go to combat and see if they'll like block sack. I could stun so they can't attack Kaito on the crackback. Ugh. I get in a really awkward spot if they go. If I attack with Kaito, they stun, and then have like Kozilek's command. Because then I have to consign the Kozilek's command, and I don't get to draw with Kaito. Well, I was just trying to think of a way that would let me draw. Because I need more lands. I need, like, ways to cast my spells. And I need more, like, actual counter spells, if possible. So, just trying to find ways that let me see more cards. Let me tell you what's not resolving. Like, I need more consigns or like something to help out here. Land is good. I can just Field of Ruin this Ugin's Labyrinth right now. I think I want to attack first. The reason I want to attack first is if their last card is Kozilek's Command. Well, no, they wouldn't even have enough mana to Kozilek's Command. Never mind, scratch that. For some reason, I was thinking, oh, they soul land into a or Field of Ruin hits them into a soul land. Scratch that. So I might go ahead and Field of Ruin. But I do want to draw off of this Kaito. I don't want to like emblem Kaito here. Or actually, I don't think I draw, or I don't think I. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I have to Field of Ruin. Man, Magic's tough. I know y'all are aware of this, but. Well, it's not so much that I draw off of Kaito as it is I need to find specific cards. And if I tap off of Field of Ruin, I can't have Shieldred's Edict plus Counterspell on the backswing for this Chrysalis. Because this is going to get to attack at my Kaito. And then Kaito does say you can draw a card or Surveil 2, draw a card for each opponent who lost life. So even if my opponent blocks, I do get to Surveil with Kaito because they dismembered. If that's what I want. Is that what I want, though? I believe yes. No. So it's either I stun, fade a top deck. I think I stun here. I absolutely stun here because Consult digs me deeper for a consign than Kaito does. So this Kaito needs to be gearing up for lethal and 2 attacks. And go to my turn. Land is perfectly good with me. I am going to attack in, draw off Kaito. Keep that, bottom the other. And now because I hit my 6th land, I can consult the star charts looking for a consign. And I've still got Kaito emblem next turn to attack for lethal. What is this nonsense I don't care about? Pretty good nonsense. Okay. what is my plan? I just want to double check before I do anything that I have an out that my opponent cannot kill me from. They can't minus Kaito and sack it off. Shieldred's Edict says opponent. So if I subtlety and just consult and just draw whatever, because I kind of feel like they could maybe find something off consult to mess me up. I guess I can just consult first, looking for a consigned memory. Can I consult with Kicker here? Or do I need to just, I guess I just need to like regular consult. Consult, you let me down. So I cannot get Bowmaster because Bowmaster shoots my own Kaito. Spell Snare could be fine. Force and Negation could be fine. Wan Shi Tong's probably fine. So I'll just get Wan Shi. And then am I subtletying or am I counterspell Shieldred's Edict? I think I'm counterspell Shieldred's Edict. No, because then they can just subtlety, pitch, whatever. I chickened out. I chickened out again. This is so weird because I'm just thinking of lines where like they can hit themselves with Kaito, 0, find a Bowmaster or something, kill off my own Kaito. So in that regard, I want subtlety out so that they can't hit themselves with Kaito, serve L2, draw a card, and then find Bowmaster because they're dead to subtlety on board. Magic. Magic is weird. Y'all seen how weird this game is. So we ended up, what? We ended up 4-1 with our loss being to, what was round 1 against? I already forgot. Something that ran us over pretty good. Beat Eldrazi Aggro and Eldrazi Ramp. Beat Esper Blank. I can't remember what rounds 1 or 2 were. Oh, round 2 was Mill. So Eldrazi Aggro, Eldrazi Ramp, Mill, Esper Blank, and Oh, blue-red Murktide. That was it. We lost to Izzet Murktide round 1. Obviously the most meta of the entire league. So what did we think of the deck? I really like the flash aspect. Tamiyo didn't really do much of anything, so I wouldn't hate dropping Tamiyo. Wan Chi Tong was better this league than it was when I ran it the challenge last week, but that also kind of coincides within the challenge. I played against a bunch of Boros. Here in the league, I played against a bunch of Eldrazi, where Field of the Ruin was pretty cracked. Consult the star charts. I wasn't really feeling it last week, and I still don't think I'm particularly feeling it now. Cards, it's cool, it's pricey, and every time I see it, I'm like, maybe I'm just too terrified to play it for 2 mana. So I'm like sitting there waiting to use it on 4. And then when I finally get to 4 mana, I'm like, oh, well, I could go for this consult, or I could counterspell this, or I could subtlety, or I could play Wan Chi Tong. And I just like don't end up consulting. And it just kind of sits around in hand. But it is cool, really, really late game when you're looking for something specific. See, in a lot of my games, I'm consulting for kicker with like 8 on opponent's instep when we're both at 0 cards. Yeah, I was not seeing that either. I think I'd rather cut down to like 2 consults and just not see this card early. But if you're going to wait, like, I feel like there's got to be better options at that point. If I don't want to see this card until I've got 8 mana or something, then I feel like there's a dozen just 5 mana draw 4s or something you could play in that spot and just get more cards. Or that's like when you're wanting Wan Chi Tong anyway. It feels like there's too many just really late game cast one of these and pull ahead cards. Like you need to make it to the late game. And that feels like it can be a little bit of a struggle if your hand's got too many of these draw cards. The sideboard, I liked the change of Graveyard Trespasser to Kaito a lot. Kaito was really, really good. Absolutely loved it. I think that was a positive change overall. Trespasser did okay, so I can't hate on Trespasser, but Kaito is Kaito. And Kaito is Kaito for a reason. I liked the Force of Negation over Spell Pierce change. Never saw Toxic Deluge or Engineered Explosives, so can't really comment on either of those. But it was cool. I liked it.